everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for tuning in on a Saturday. Always good and excited to be with you. Talking a little real estate. As always, April sends all the love. Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, and enjoying your fall. Excited to be with you. So we got a good show for you today. But as always, we got some congrats, and we got some great clients to thank for their opportunity to work with them. And some guys have sold some properties. So congratulations to Regus, 515 luxury unit there, 3-bedroom. Only a 3-bedroom unit is now officially under contract. And then unit number 310 just went pending today. Congratulations to them on the purchase of their new condo. And our featured home of the week, Back Home Way, 1940 Back Home Way, featured home of the week, just went under contract. That's in excess of over $2 million. And a great luxury cabin, high income producing. And congratulations to the seller on that one. And thanks for the trust. So we got a good show for you. As always, you're following us on News Talk 98.7 at 1 o'clock, Talk Radio 92.3 FM at 11 o'clock. And in case you missed the show or you're busy, and that happens, maybe you're watching our Vols, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All of our social media channels, just contact either Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty, you'll find me. And then if you happen to be in the car, turn in the Apple iPod podcast or on Android. We're on both places. So a lot of ways to watch Real Estate with Ryan. It's always good to talk a little real estate besides politics because there's enough of that and enough doom and gloom on the news, right? Let's talk about some fun stuff. If you guys are tuning in the first time, maybe never know who this guy is on the radio. My name is Ryan Coleman, owner and founder of Hometown Realty, and just excited to sell real estate, helping great people in East Tennessee, just doing my thing, doing my job, and our team loves doing it. We got some of the best in the industry over here at Hometown Realty. I always tell everybody you can't do it by yourself. You got to have great people. Keep in mind, we're always looking for great people. So if you're thinking about marketing opportunity, thinking about being in graphics, thinking about being in sales, those positions are open. Apply, go to my website at ryancoleman.org. There's a spot there for employment and check us out. Give us some interest. We'd love to talk to you about what we do and how we separate ourselves in the market. So today is going to be a very good show. We're talking about 5 reasons that today's housing market is anything but normal. And then we're going to go in the second part of the show. And you say, well, Ryan, the market's obviously not normal. There's some adjustments in the market and it seems slanted to the seller. That's true. And we talk about that. Other than money though, Ryan, what can I negotiate? I want a deal. I want a wheel and deal. It's an opportunity for me as a buyer. I sold my house. I got money in hand. I'm ready to make a deal. But I can't be one-sided. Deal's got to be good for all of us, right? So we're going to talk about in the second part of the show, things that you can negotiate other than just a closing cost credit or some money, items you don't want to miss in the second part of the show. So thank you for staying with us. So anything why the market is anything but normal. There's many headlines out there that claim that they're reverting to more of a normal real estate market. And that would indicate that the housing market is returning to kind of pre-pandemic numbers that we saw from 2015 to 2019. But unfortunately, that's just not happening right now. The market still, guys, is extremely vibrant and as demand is stronger than ever while housing supply is slowly returning. A lot of that comes with the pandemic. We talk about it every week, different things that have affected that. But when you watch inflation, when you watch the news, what's going on, we're talking about shortages, right? When you see ships lined up out in the port, in the sea, and the shelves are bare. April, my wife, was talking yesterday. One of our family members went to the store to get some gift bags or took a picture, kind of a selfie of the gift bags, like empty. Are we going to get back to that where we're out of toilet paper? Hope not. But we're anything but normal. And they said the definition of normal, Ryan, is conforming to a type, standard, or a regular pattern categorized by that is considered typical or routine. So that's your definition of the day. But obviously there's some challenges. And kind of everybody, the question I get from so many clients and customers that we meet is, where do you think the market's going, Ryan? Where do you think we're at? And so here's some numbers to kind of look at. If we look at the 30-year mortgage rates over the last decades, Freddie Mac can look at these. These are Freddie Mac's rates, by the way. They're not Ryan's rates. 1970s, the average rates were 8.86. The 80s, if you guys remember the 80s, they were 12.7. I think my uncle said the rates were 18% when he had to do a refinance. The 90s were 8%. 2000s were 6.29. And then 2010 was 4.09. So you can see that the rates today, some of the rates, we just put our newsletter out, we're in the low twos. I want to say that I got something in the email the other day that we could get a rate as low as 1.5, 1.9. I mean, effectively, that's zero, right? So the home appreciation over the last couple of years in the residential real estate, on an average from 1995, has been about 4%. Still a great appreciation. If you bought that new home and you did some upgrades and you're listening to our show, right? And doing those things in those builder homes that you could really bring value and you look to move up, 4%, 6% is a reasonable growth in that period of time. But the latest forecast, the National Association of Realtors says, is up to 14% a year. And in some markets, we're seeing way above that. 14% a year. So currently, home appreciation is anything but usual, typical, or routine. And we look at why that probably could happen. And I think inventory has a lot to do with it. Everybody's talking inventory. We are seeing that creep up some. We are seeing adjustments. But the months of supply, in case, we're in real estate all the time. We get to talk in real estate lingo. And some people say, well, what's months of supply and what does that have to do with anything? But the months of supply refers to the number of months it would take for the current inventory of homes on the market to sell given the current sales pace. Historically, 6 months of supply is associated with moderate price appreciation. So obviously, anything lower, prices tend to increase. Right now, we're about at 2.6. I think in the Knoxville market, we're about 2.3. So days to sell a home, we're looking at days on the market. Typically, now each area, I tell everybody, you can't use real estate as a whole. It's really isolated and it can be broken down. So we could be selling something in Lenoir City or Loudoun, and then we go into Farragut, Hardin Valley, or maybe we go where? Anderson County too, Sevierville. Those markets are really ideal and not. Right? Everybody says, well, it's ideal. This is what I'm getting priced per square foot, but they're different. They're ideal in some aspects of the market and the rates and buyers and supply and demand, but they're so different in demographics and what we'll demand. Some of the cabins that we're getting is $400 a square foot. Some of the condos that I've sold downtown are $600 a foot. We can go out here to Oak Ridge and we can sell for $80 a foot. Different areas. Just depends. We're seeing in 2019, days on market was 35. Now we're looking at 17. If you look in some areas, you could say it's not even days, Ryan. As soon as I hit the market, we had multiple offers and it sold. Are we seeing that cool off a little bit? We might. Number of listings pending in 2019 that received multiple offers. 2.2. Now it's 4.5. Last week we talked about it. Not every property is going to receive multiple offers. 6 out of 10 in Knoxville are going to have multiple. That's 40% or more that's not getting multiple. Mortgage rates are historic lows. That's the bottom number. Appreciation is historic. We've seen numbers that we've never seen before. Housing inventory is half than what we see. I was talking last week, I said, if we can get to about 3,000, I think we have a little better opportunity that buyers can actually get to property and get back to more of a competitive market. That's probably 3.5 months of inventory, but I think that would probably be a good thing. And then the time it takes to sell a home is cut in half. So, that's good. And there's twice as many offers on properties as we go into the fall break. So, it's anything but normal. That's why if you're in this market, you can't do it alone. I mean, you can. You can do anything you put your mind to. I tell my daughter, she goes around and says, I can't. I said, well, you can do anything you put your mind to. You can. You can, but just better with the team. It's better with an opportunity. Your biggest advocate in this market, guys, and I preach it all the time, you need a good agent that you trust. You need a good agent in your corner, and you need somebody pushing for you, marketing. Put your home out there in the market just to put it out there, and maybe somebody comes through Zillow, maybe somebody comes through Craigslist, or somebody brings a buyer. You may be leaving thousands on the table. That's why I would encourage you, if you're thinking about buying and selling, and maybe it's a couple months out, visit ryancoleman.org. We've got our free valuation, real-time data that will give you a snapshot of the market, and we'll help you there. We're going to the second part of the show. Make sure you guys stay with us. We'll see you on the other side.
With over 30 years of real estate experience in East Tennessee, Ryan Coleman and the team at Hometown Realty know something about a home field advantage. Buying or selling your home in today's market is a big decision, and choosing the wrong agent could be a costly mistake. So be sure to choose your winning team of experts at Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers. Call 865-693-SOLD. That's 865-693-SOLD, or visit ryancoleman.org and start packing.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, man.
Found us a house.
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown
He says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taking too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel. All right, thanks for staying tuned with us after the break. We're talking a little real estate. Tuning in. My name is Ryan Coleman. Glad to be with you guys. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. And we were talking about the real estate market is anything but normal on the first part of the show. And it really is. Best advice, tune in to our show. Give us a call, man. We'd love to help you in the real estate market. We'll take good care of you. But get a great agent to help you through this process. And that's your best asset. That's my biggest advice. Always will believe in it. But then we're going to talk about if the market's anything but normal, Ryan. Let's do this before we get into the show, because we'll carry the rest of the segment on there. Let me remind you guys, every week we're giving away tickets to the Vols. We love our Vols, man. We're family. So proud sponsor, University of Tennessee Athletic Department, the Vols, obviously, your Tennessee Realtor every week. And we got a good game coming up next week. So make sure you tune in. What do you got, Nick? Like, subscribe. That's all you got to do to win. We've got several people that have taken advantage of that, and really great seats. Enjoy the game, whether we're winning or losing. I think we're going to win a lot of games this year. We've got basketball coming too, right, Nick? I think I just saw practice started. A lot of 5-star recruits, 4-star recruits. Our basketball program is on fire. Follow us. It's a little something we can do for the community. Give back, get some seats. Take your kids, take some family members, go on a good date. Get away from everything, right? We've got enough going on in this world, and so many stresses of, we've got the stresses of kids and moving and this and inflation. You know what? It all goes away when you put your orange on, go down to the stadium, the energy's there. So excited to be back with everybody, and just go have fun. Root on our Vols, man. So make sure you follow our page, like our page. Every week we're giving away tickets that we have home games. So I wanted to get that in, okay? So now we're talking about price reductions that actually can beat closing costs. So some things that you can do in that not so abnormal market, Ryan, but I can make an advantage and actually still get a little deal. Well, let's talk about strategies to beat closing costs or credits. What's better? So if you're familiar with buying homes, sometimes there's closing costs involved, and most of the times there's always going to be closing costs. The amount of closing costs is always going to depend on what? Whether you're buying a property cash or you're getting a loan. If you get a loan, the lender likes to have escrows and fees and lender fees and points and discounts and processing fees. So you start adding up the tab and it can get hefty. The rule of thumb is if you borrow on a property and you get a loan, that closing cost could be 3 to 4% of the sales price. So on a $300,000 house, it could be $9,000 to $12,000. It could be a lot of cash. So what are we going to do in this marketplace that we're having to put 20% down or 10% down? Or maybe you're that first-time homeowner and you're just getting into that house or you're doing a VA loan. And so you're limited out of pocket, but the rates are great. You've been a great buyer. You've been diligent. You got strong credit, and you're excited to get into the market. But you still got to come up with $10,000 or $15,000. Well, there's ways in the marketplace that we can get you into that home, or we can limit your cash that makes sense in an offer. Let's talk about a $5,000 credit or a credit in lieu, right? So credits are used to say whether we're negotiating for a home inspection or we're going in with our original offer. A credit will be either a reduction in the price or could go to a vendor. We're doing one now where they want the panel box replaced because it's older. It's with the Federal Pacific and things like that, and they're known to cause issues. I don't know much about that other than that's what we hear on all the inspections reports, kind of the talking points. So we run into those things on inspections. Now, what do we do? Do we replace it? Do we give them a credit? All that depends on your lender and how you structure it. But sometimes in today's market, where everything is super inflated, everything's expensive, and I was talking to my client just a while ago, and everybody is weeks or months behind. Right? Everybody's behind. So a credit really makes sense. Maybe get an estimate from a contractor. You can look online, but more than likely you can come up with a credit that's fair to both parties, and the buyer can take care of it after closing. The buyer has peace of mind that they can pick the right contractor, they can monitor the job, and they can get it done maybe faster. Maybe they know somebody. And then the seller doesn't have to fool with it. Doesn't have to get into an issue whether, it was done right or is the contractor going to get there on time and then actually delay closing. So those are things to talk about. How does a price reduction win when you're negotiating today's market? I think there's different ways to look at it. So if you had a $250,000 sales price, had a $5,000 closing cost credit, we know, number one, that if you're paying commission on that, it's going to be a little bit less. Every penny counts in this market. $5,000 in closing costs, it's going to be a benefit for the buyer because, again, we always talk about real estate, but not the average buyer and sellers doesn't know these things until you get to the table and they give this thing called your closing disclosure and your good faith estimate and all these numbers, and it's kind of overwhelming. But a closing cost credit's really good for you because it limits the amount of money of cash. Limits the amount of money that you need for your down payment. So let's use an example that we have a $100,000 house. You're putting 20% down. Well, that's $80,000. But your closing cost is another $10,000. So if we can get some of your closing costs paid, that limits your true cash dollar. And let's say that inspection came in and needed to negotiate. You can use that. Now, most lenders in the marketplace on closing cost credits or reductions have certain limitations. For example, conventional loans, to the best of my knowledge, is 3%. Some of your government loans, FHA, VA, will go up to 6% of the sales price. So get with your lender, get with your agent, but those are ideas that a closing cost credit really does make sense. Whether you need the money or not, it limits your cash out of pocket versus a reduction in sales price may be a $10 reduction in interest rates. With the interest rates so low, taking a reduction on your taxes for what? The interest. It really does make sense on that smaller amount to limit your cash if you so choose. Now, let's talk about capital gains and how a reduction on a closing cost credit would come in play. So your tax deduction is on your gain minus what? Any expenses that you had throughout the property. So it's an adjusted cost base. So keep in mind that $5,000 or adjusted credit may make sense when you're factoring in the capital gains. One thing that we're talking with our great clients and things to think about regarding an investment property. Let's say you're selling that cabin in Sevierville. Let's say you're selling that $2 million property we just put under contract. And let's say as a married couple, we know the IRS rules are $250,000 for a single couple, live there 2 years, and then $500,000 over 2 years. That means anything over $500,000 is taxable. There is an opportunity if it's an investment, if you set it up right, and that's why I always say get a great agent in your corner. If you borrow money or if there's an equity line on it, any borrowed money is a way to avoid tax because they don't pay money on borrowed money. So if you're close to that, $500,000 exclusion or that $250,000 exclusion from your sale on your investment property or your residence, now mostly this applies to residents, but talk to your CPA about it. There's opportunities there to leverage and limit your tax deduction in ways to structure it. Let's say the closing cost is, you've got for some reason, the buyer needs to limit the cash. Maybe it's their first home. Maybe it's a move-up home. And closing costs makes sense. Sometimes a closing cost credit makes the buyer have more cash to close, makes the lender happy with the reserve requirement, and keeps everybody happy, and they all go to closing. Sometimes if you push the limit and you've made adjustments, closing cost credits are not the way to go. You want to do a price reduction because you have a fear of maybe you push the price as far as you will go, and it's better to have the property reduce in price so than fear of a high appraisal coming in. Let's talk about some things that you can negotiate, kind of the fun stuff that you wouldn't think about when purchasing a home. Kind of run through these quickly. We talked about closing cost. Make sure that you can negotiate for contingencies. Most people don't realize that contingencies in East Tennessee, when you sell the property, they actually want you out. That's kind of hard to be. But so you can negotiate and have opportunities, whether it's a rent back. Maybe you're selling your home, very, very common, and you're out of state. Maybe you make a really good offer contingent upon your home selling. Maybe it's under contract, but it's an all-cash offer and you need an extended time. Always an opportunity. How about inspections and repairs? An opportunity to longer inspection and negotiate on repairs, some things that the seller needs to do. Don't forget home warranties, appliances, fridge, washer, dryer. Sometimes furniture is included. And then a potential to lease back in this market if timing comes through. Show goes quicker than I expect. Thank you for tuning in every week, listening to Real Estate with Ryan, the best real estate show in town. Hey, the only show in town. Thank you so much. Your proud sponsor of the Vols. Easy number, 693-SOLD. That's 693-7653. Or visit me at ryancoleman.org. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next weekend.